Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get going.
Let's go.
This is a big episode. This is the one
Huge.
that's going to go. It's
Huge.
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 The
with
money
Y.
maker.
It's
Huge.
bigly.
Huge. China.
Huge.
Huge.
And it's going to either be the one that gets us canceled or the one that goes viral and gets us even more thousands of fans and audience members than we already have, John. And with that in mind, if you just tuned in, you are listening to the X Factor podcast. If you haven't found us before and you somehow stumbled across this podcast, or maybe one of our awesome super fan P1 listeners told you to subscribe, here you are. Welcome aboard. Behave yourself. Fasten your seatbelts, because today our special guest, we're still figuring out if he has the X Factor or not, is actually our intern, the DFE, as I like to call him, the director of freaking everything, because like whatever's going on is his fault. Whatever goes well, he gets credit for. Whatever goes south, he gets the blame for. And his name is Parker Shoehorn. Parker, welcome to the X Factor podcast. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yeah, I guess we could go with that. Thank you for having me.
So what did I pronounce? Really, did I pronounce your name right? It's Parker Shoehorn, right?
No, it's Parker Scott Horn.
Scott Horn.
Yeah.
You don't pronounce it Scothorn?
So many people, like ever since I was a kid, like
you are a kid. You are a kid.
Well, back in like ever since
if you're just listening
school,
on iTunes, he has like a cowlick and a milk mustache. If you go to the YouTube, you can see it.
Well, ever since like elementary school, all my teachers, all my friends, like all of them have said Scothorn. I've always had to correct them, but now I'm kind of like it. As long as they somewhat pronounce it right, I'm fine with it.
I'm just going to start calling you Scott.
That's fine with me.
Our intern, Scott. Scott who? Scott Horn.
It's Parker. It's Parker the DFE. That's what we'll stick with Parker. Yeah. I think Parker works. So, Parker, how are you today, Parker?
I'm good. Things have been a little crazy lately.
Like 2020 crazy, or
2020 crazy and
is that redundant? Things have been a little 2020 around here.
Yeah, but no, I'm doing great. Right now I'm in North Carolina. The weather seems to be all right outside. I mean, can't complain. It's a lot hotter than what I expected, but I guess we'll just kind of go with it.
Shout out to Al Gore. Right? We talked about this on past episodes, right?
Yes. Yep.
So you are
the internet.
You are a recent college graduate, as I understand.
Yes, sir. I graduated from Liberty University with a degree in strategic communications.
And they are a ranked football team at this moment?
Yes, they just recently beat Virginia Tech, and I think they're still undefeated. If I am correct, I think they're still undefeated as of today.
It's the most 2020 thing ever is Liberty beating 2 ACC teams.
Yep. Well, we're on the rise.
So Parker,
especially with our go ahead.
Go ahead. What especially with your what?
Especially with our President Falwell, who just recently resigned as the president of Liberty University. Yeah, I don't know if you all.
I wanted to ask you about that. Did his wife ever like flirt with you or make any advances towards you during your time there?
Absolutely no, not at all. I heard rumors around campus about her and kind of her talking to students and stuff, but I just kind of did my own thing. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, congratulations on getting out of school. And what do you do for hobbies? Because
Hobbies.
what do you do outside of
So
now that you're a college graduate?
can I answer this?
What do you got?
I'm going to answer this. So when we interviewed Parker, we did a conference call to interview
Yeah.
him. Sorry, when we interviewed Scott the DFE, I Googled his name. So I could tell you, John, I could tell you all about his hobbies. I have his digital footprint here, which if you
Ooh.
pass away before me, I'll make sure we remove and delete your Google search history, Parker, on your computer. So Parker, I would tell you, has a strong interest in CrossFit. He's got a profile on the CrossFit Games page.
Nice.
If you want to follow him, he's on Instagram and Facebook, folks.
Nice.
And he graduated from Lord Boat Lord Boutort High School in Dalesville, Virginia.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, Lord Boat.
Lord Botatot.
Is that like Bodie McBoatface High School?
So Parker graduated from Lord High School.
Sounds like Biden giving a speech.
No.
You know the thing on the thing.
You know the thing.
Come on, man. So he played on a co-ed volleyball team called the Locals. Right?
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Actually, that you found that. Yeah. I did.
Yeah. Thank goodness for Google. And that's about all I got on Parker right here.
CrossFit now. Are you
Scott Horn?
CrossFitters. Let's talk about CrossFitters. So how many times have you been injured as a CrossFitter?
I was gonna say, tell us all about your overuse injuries.
Well, I've oh gosh. Well, through CrossFit, I've only been injured like technically twice, I want to say. One time it was actually really bad. I popped my rib out place. That's
bad.
Yeah, and it was really hard to breathe, and they like popped it back in. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of nasty and felt awful. And then the second time, my diet was all messed up, and I wasn't eating properly, wasn't like recovering properly. And especially
by not eating properly, he means as a Gen Z CrossFitter, he wasn't posting every meal to Instagram.
Absolutely.
And every meal has to have kale in it too, right? I think.
That's
or you didn't eat.
Yeah.
I mean, yep, exactly. But no, my second injury was more overuse. Basically, like my body wasn't recovering properly, because with CrossFit, you have to make sure that like if you're gonna compete, or if you're even gonna like be doing it every day, you want to like maintain a very healthy diet and make sure you're recovering properly each day. So, and I was not doing that at the time.
So we're all either a great example or a cautionary tale, Parker. So that's good. Do I get to ask a question here?
Yeah, no, it's a joint. This
Rennie?
is two hosts, one guest podcast. That's the new name of the podcast. Two hosts, one guest.
Not to be confused with two girls, one cup. That's just you went there. That's just gross.
I don't know that one, but
you don't want to. Don't Google it. Whatever you do, folks, don't Google that. So, Scott Parker, DFE, what possessed you to want to apply to be our podcast producer, intern person? Like, did you lose a bet? Are you a glutton for punishment? What
No,
gives, dude?
I actually researched both of you. I did not go into all the books that Coach Brubaker has, because he has a lot of books.
You'd be much more respectful towards me if you had.
Oh
I
yeah,
might add, yes. You may hereby refer to me as Your Majesty, but go ahead.
Preferred pronoun.
but no, when I was researching both of you all, I liked how you all did things. I liked when I heard about the podcast that you guys were starting. I was all about it because I believe in what you all are doing, and I believe that could change a lot of lives. And so I'm always all for that. I want to be
For
able to
better or
motivate
for
people.
worse? How are we changing lives?
I hope for the better, but I guess it just kind of depends. It could be like kind of a wave of up and down, you know. But no, I
Is
I
this
agreed with
something
what,
you wanted to get into, like career wise? Is this a
absolutely.
stepping stone for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to.
Personally, I think it's gonna be more of a kidney stone job for you than a stepping stone job. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to get into this because one, I believe in what you all are doing, and two, I respect both of you all because of, I mean, both of you all have just an amazing track record of accomplishments, and I want to be able to learn from each of you in your own like areas of where you are and such. And on top of that, I would say lastly, this is something that I want to do in the future. I want to be able to manage social media. I want to be able to advertise, market, and this was a perfect kind of setup for me to be able to kind of work on that and grow in that area. So
This is really, I appreciate that, and I want you to know, like this, the feeling's mutual. You know, John and I each have 2 dogs, and you know, we both wanted to get a puppy, but our wives won't let us get a puppy. So kind of like having you is kind of like having a puppy that we don't have to be responsible for taking to the bathroom at 3 a.m. when it wakes up. And we're going to mentor you. You know, we are going to expose you to other outstanding mentors who can teach you the ways of the world. And the next thing you know, moving the newspapers a little closer to the door. You can be a grown up. You're going to be outside. You're going to be lifting your leg on trees, so to speak. And at some point, you'll fly the nest.
We may have to have, though, a mandatory movie list that he has to watch.
Oh my God!
Because I think that, and I probably need to watch some of them too, just to get up to speed. I got to watch Fletch again, apparently.
Yeah. So our listeners, so they know, like as we build the website, the xfactorpodcast.com, there'll be a page on the website that is just a list of movie quotes from the show that Parker had to research because he had no idea what we were talking about, but they are iconic, famous quotes. And this is all part of the education the young pup receives, you know?
But better education than college.
Apparently, you didn't even know who Al Gore was, and you spent 4 years at Liberty.
Well,
So-
I looked them up, and I now know. Thank goodness for the internet.
We'll have to say,
John, Al Gore wasn't in the Holy Bible, so that's not something that he ever learned at Liberty.
yes, it's not
It's
there.
like the New Testament, I guess.
It's the New Testament. Yeah,
version
it's not in there.
2.0.
Version, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Parker, first impressions of working with us. I think we've done a great job highlighting all your inadequacies around movie quotes and being a Gen Z. And so,
Not knowing anything about Seinfeld, which is sad.
First impressions of working with us.
All right. So if I had to list like three impressions, just like right off the top of my head, is that kind of where we're going?
Yeah, three.
So first
All right.
would be 1. So notice, like, then obviously he's a Gen Z because he wants to make his own rules. I
Right.
said first impression.
Oh,
If I had three, so he thinks he's entitled. We give him one, John. He thinks he's entitled to three.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I was gonna give
Gen
the first
Z
one
thing
and then the
ever.
other.
Yep. Yep.
So first impression is when we first hopped on the call when y'all were interviewing me, I thought this is actually really funny. I
We'll be the judge
thought
of
it was
that.
funny. I thought it was funny that when we were conversating, that
Conversing. But go ahead.
conversing.
I like conversating.
John,
The Fonz.
John and Jon.
The Fonz. Hang on. Here's another one you won't know, Parker. There's this guy called the Fonz. He always used to say conversating. Let's conversate.
Yeah.
So go ahead. You're as cool as the Fonz now, apparently. So you thought it was funny when we first jumped on the call and we're conversating.
Well, no, my first impression was I liked you all both, especially after the call. Because I had researched both of you all even before the call had happened, obviously. And
Hashtag impressed.
When we got onto the call, I was very intrigued with both of you all, the way that you all communicated, as well as, I don't know, just your overall ideals with what you wanted. So honestly, my first impression was I was impressed with the overall conversation.
Do you remember my first question? Like, I waited a little while before I asked anything. And what was my first question?
Oh my gosh, I do remember this. I just talked about this yesterday.
To your girlfriend who loves us. Did you tell your girlfriend?
Yeah, I actually think
was it about the blue dress?
Wait.
Or an article of clothing that you could use against us?
Oh, yes. It was about, and you tweeted it even.
I was live tweeting our whole interview with Parker. Sorry, Scott.
And you asked me if I had any old internship clothes that were
previous internship, yes.
And then I responded, and you said, well, I just wanted to make sure so you didn't use those as, what was it, political advantage or
as ammunition for political purposes to advance your cause.
Your career. Yeah.
Hashtag blue dress.
Well, good. You don't, and so that was a good that you answered that well. No, I think you did really well in the interview. In fact, out of all the interns we talked to, you were by far the best.
John, I'm going to need you. I'm going to pull a Jon Rennie and I'm going to get up and walk out for a second. So you just go ahead and carry the interview like I usually do. Okay.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
No, but thank you so much. Yeah, no, I was very impressed with both of y'all. I honestly, one of my biggest, honestly, the biggest first impression I had was I knew both of y'all had a lot of wisdom, and I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. Like, I don't want to sit steady. I always want to be like trying to grow in some form, factor, or way, even if it's the smallest little step. And that was like my first impression was these two know what they're doing, and I want to work with them so that way I can learn and grow even further. So that
was good deal. Now, this is before you talk to Coach Brew, or, I mean, because once you meet Coach Brew, then you're just like, wait a second, this is the guy that's done all these great things.
Yeah, careful. I just came back.
Oh, you're back.
What was so funny to me is in the interview, because like I said, I researched both of you all beforehand, and I was like, oh wow, they're very accomplished, like definitely know what they're talking about, know what they're doing. And I think literally just mid conversation in our interview, Coach Brew just shouts out, I just want you all to know I'm live tweeting this whole conversation between two meatheads or something like that.
Yeah, because we were talking working out. We were talking powerlifting versus bodybuilding versus CrossFit.
Yep.
These are the most important conversations that need to be had. So yeah, we were having a meathead conversation. It was good conversation, Coach.
Yep.
Do you remember what day of the week that was? I'm trying to go back and find some of these tweets while we're talking.
It was
Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday. I feel like it was a Wednesday. But
yeah, I think it was a Wednesday. But okay. I remember looking at your Twitter and you posted multiple tweets.
Yeah, that's
what I do.
That's what we do. And but there's not that many followers between Coach Brew and I, so don't worry, no one's seeing it. There's only like 25,000 followers between the two of us, and
minuscule number.
And and by the way, Coach Brew has got a blue check mark.
Yeah, that makes me a verified nobody.
No, it means you are special. You're the people we listen to for election advice. People with blue check marks.
Exactly.
I tell you what, the ticket machine at Chuck E. Cheese could have counted the votes faster and more accurately than our country.
Well, I like the people were saying if Chick-fil-A was in charge, we'd have the results, right at 8:30 p.m. So.
Yeah, I will say this, like people are half the country is going to be upset, and half the country is going to be thrilled with the outcome. Right. But regardless of who wins the election, the ice cream machine at your local McDonald's will still be broken, folks.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to break the news to you.
Yeah. I feel like that's a tweet. I feel like you that's something that you've tweeted.
Because it is.
Parker, we need you to live tweet from now on every podcast as we're doing it. We'll have to live tweet. And by the way, what is our Twitter handle again?
So Twitter and Instagram will be Podcast X Factor, and then the Facebook, YouTube will be the X Factor Podcast.
Got it. I'm going to ask you.
So it is. We really do have social media.
Yes.
Actual accounts.
Yes.
I thought it was just an idea, like Antifa.
That's definitely I feel like that's a tweet too. It is.
No. This is just pretty much this whole podcast is going to be all tweetable quotes. Yeah. So that's pretty much what it is.
So Parker, what's the X Factor mean to you? I feel like I ought to take this train and get back on the tracks here.
Yeah. For me, to kind of, I feel like I could go on about this for a while because I was actually talking about this not long ago as well, is for me, the X Factor is...
if you did, I'll warn you, since you're the one responsible for editing this, you'd just be creating a lot of work for yourself when I tell you to cut 99% of it out.
This is true. The X Factor to me is I guess if I could like sum it up in like a phrase, is being able to be different in times where people are the same.
Okay. For instance.
So for instance
and I don't want an example from someone else's life. I want an example from your life.
So for instance,
how do you have the X Factor?
For me, I remember when I was this is kind of a cool story. I remember when I was in high school.
I'll be the judge of that, Parker.
I was in high school, and I remember I was always the weakest person. Like I was just skin and bone, nothing else. And I would kind of get picked on by my friends by that. And like I didn't really take offense to it, but I always knew like inside I was like, I want change. Like I'm tired of being what everyone else wants me to be and how they see me. I want to be able to see myself as better than all of that and be able to grow past that. So I started working out, I started training, I started doing as much as I could to learn and grow. And I mean, that's kind of where things took off for me is as I started working out and started developing myself, I found that all the people that are going to be mocking you, are going to be saying things about you, are no better than you are. So you have to show and prove to yourself, most importantly, and to others, that you are growing and you're moving past what they say that you are.
So I think it's a great example, and to prove to you, prove to everyone, a mind reader, I'm going to ask you precisely what Jon Rennie was thinking while you described that story. Okay?
I feel
So you're getting all these gains in high school. What kind of protein powder were you on, Parker?
yes.
What were you taking?
I can't. There's no. I can't just link that stuff unless.
No, you can't. That'd be breaking the rules, and we would fine you. No free shout outs.
No free shout outs.
Shout out to Dasani water.
Yeah, exactly.
Tastiest purified water enhanced with minerals for a pure, fresh taste.
But I will say a big person in my life that impacted me was my brother.
Andre the Giant?
Huh?
Andre the Giant?
No, not Hunter, my brother.
You said a big person.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's pretty
figuratively.
big.
Figuratively. Okay.
Yeah. So, no, he definitely motivated me throughout. I mean, he's somebody that I've always looked up to, and he's my older brother. But he, growing up, kind of his story, which kind of plays into mine, was I remember he was always like the littlest dude in the yard. Like everyone picked on him. And I remember within 1 year,
the prison yard. What yard are we talking?
Everyone in school would always pick on him and kind of mess with him about being
yard.
Yeah,
details matter, Scott.
with being so skinny and stuff. And I remember he completely changed his life around. He gained a ton of weight, like muscle weight, and from there, now he's about to become a doctor. He's always been pushing me and pushing himself forward. And while he's pushing himself forward, that's something that's always motivated me, because it allows me to see that no matter what people may think of you, no matter what you may think of yourself, you can always push past that.
Yeah, I think it's a great example, because X Factor is a model to see, not just a motto to say. And there are a lot of quote leaders and a lot of quote experts out there who are just going to give you a motto to say. And that's meaningless.
In a phrase,
without being the example.
Yep. To me, my dad would always say this, is that you have to lead by example. You can't just phrase. You can't just say what you're going to do and then not do it.
Yep.
So I think that's
leadership 101. It's about doing what you say you're going to do. That's very important. You build rapport with your team. They respect you because you are a person of your word, and they can trust you. And trust is the number one reason why people will follow leaders. They're 12 times more likely to be engaged if they trust you as a boss. So
12 times.
12 times.
Okay. Why 12?
I don't know. That's what Gallup came up with. I don't know.
Gallup.
I just spit it out. Spit out facts. I have random facts in my head.
You're the Office of Obscure Facts and Useless Knowledge right there.
Absolutely. I got tons of them.
It's a beautiful thing. Parker. EFE.
Yes.
What are you most looking forward to with this internship?
For me, the thing that I'm most looking forward to is just being able to, like I was kind of saying earlier, is just being able to grow daily, kind of get outside my box and kind of keep pushing myself to learn more, grow more, and to never just settle with being, personally, I just don't want to fall into the crowd that just kind of settles to being like just average. Like I don't want to feel like I'm average. Like I always want to feel like I can do better.
So you suggesting that I should hold you to a very high standard? And there should be consequences for anything less. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
It would definitely push me way out of my box, but I'm all for it because to me, like failing is not truly failing. Failing is a way of like growth.
Okay. So what's the coolest part of this whole project that you're looking forward to sinking your teeth into the most?
I mean, just other than being around me. I mean, obviously that's pretty big, but
definitely I think the biggest part for me is being able to just work with both of y'all and see what I think the unknown is what I'm like so ready for. Like I'm ready to like kind of step into it and see where this takes us.
Note to self, throw Parker a lot of curveballs.
You have to write that down.
As a mental note.
Yeah.
Okay, seems like 4 podcasts of curveballs I've seen.
It's my MO, man. That's how I roll.
I'm looking for a fastball. I haven't seen any, so.
but definitely I think what I'm looking forward to most is just being able to see the growth of this channel and being able to see the impacts on people's lives.
Awesome. So I want to shift gears to get to a little more philosophical matters. And John's going to have some questions for you in this regard too. If you had to make a choice, Parker, and the choice is you could either have hot dogs as fingers or hamburgers as butt cheeks, which would you choose and why?
Oh gosh. I feel like
there's a curveball.
I feel like probably I want to say the hamburgers because like I don't know though because okay here's another question is that if I choose one, does it like mold over time like an actual hamburger or hot dog would?
Or no, it doesn't age, doesn't mold. It's just as is. Well, yeah.
I feel like, I definitely feel like I would choose the hamburger buns, you know? I think that would be the smarter choice. But I don't know. What would you say?
You could hide the hamburger.
Exactly.
So it's not about what I would say. It's a question I asked you.
I would say the hamburger.
Okay. John, you have questions for Parker?
No.
You have no questions for the
How
intern.
can I, dude, literally the train went off the tracks and it's crashing over the ravine and it's burning inside of the canyon and I'm supposed to come up with a question after that?
You're welcome.
I don't.
So let me ask you this, Parker. Shifting gears, serious question.
It's not going to be serious.
If cancel culture,
spoiler alert, it's not going to be serious.
Were to come after us and we were to get canceled, what would be the greatest likelihood? You know, we're 4 podcasts in now. What do you think would be the greatest likelihood of why we would get canceled?
Oh,
would it be me or Rennie?
That's just for the sake of my internship and such. I should professionally say neither.
Neither. I would say it would be Coach Brew for sure. His filter was removed many years ago.
Yeah. What is it when you take like all NASCAR vehicles have like a governor on them?
The governor.
You can only go so fast.
Yeah.
My governor was removed a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like.
So.
I was gonna say
if you had to go ahead, Parker.
Scott. I was gonna say I feel like Coach Brew is kind of like one of those go-karts. You go to like the beach and there's those like go-kart tracks and you're so like hyped up to go on this go-kart, but it has that governor or whatever on it to like only make it go like 10 miles per hour. I feel like Coach Brew is that one cart that's like no governor, no nothing. You see the little kid like just flying around the track.
Yeah, that's him. There's no governor and the brakes don't work very well and it's sliding all over the track.
Gas, no brakes, baby. All offense, no defense all the time. That's me to a T. So like if we were to get canceled, it probably would be because of me. If this were to become a huge success and make Joe Rogan's podcast look like small potatoes, what do you think the reason for that would be?
Well, that's a good question. I think the reason for that,
for the sake of my job, I would say it'd be the synergy between you and John. It'd be the two of you.
Well, I
already told you what your answer is going to be. You know that's what your answers are going to be. What is it really?
My real answer would be that if it were to blow up and become as big as that, I think the reason for that would be that y'all are seeing from a different standpoint than he is. And I think that's important for the audience is being able to see that literally the X factor on each person you may be interviewing or each podcast that you all put out is exposing that in a sense.
You're supposed to say me. And I don't mean me, I mean you. You're supposed to say it would be me because you have an awesome producer who makes you sound smarter and look better than you really do, gentlemen.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, that too.
So yeah, you should honk your own horn there. So
no, actually, to be honest with you, think about it. You know, we talked about Joe Rogan a little bit, and I'm a Joe Rogan P1 fan. I like to listen to his show. I like to learn from his guests. But what has he got in his show? He has Jamie. Jamie's the show producer, and Jamie's a big part of that show.
He is Joe's DFE.
He is, and so we laugh about it, but he's always like, Jamie, bring that up. Jamie, look that up. Jamie, find that website. So Parker, you are Jamie for me at least. I see you as a big part of this. So I think if this podcast blows up, it's Parker, man. It's going to be it's young Jamie. You're young Parker. You're the one that's going to make it happen. So
it's your job to make us look better and sound smarter than we really are. So speaking of which, it leads me to my next question for you. If you had no choice, you had to choose one of these two things. Would you rather get uglier or dumber?
Oh gosh. Probably I would say uglier just because I just think being able to grow each day and like becoming smarter would be the path I would want to go.
Yeah, that's the wrong choice.
Yeah, you definitely would rather get dumber. You think of like dumb, rich, successful people in society. Parker?
Yeah.
Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, like there are celebrities who are famous for nothing who are really dumb, but they're attractive.
And they get all the money.
Yeah, that could be you if you get dumb enough.
Yeah,
but you'd have to get dumb. Yeah. So I feel like there's a bit of a governor on you, and we're not seeing a whole lot of your personality because you're holding back because you don't know us real well yet. So let me ask you this. Would you rather be able to say every single thought that comes in your head like I do, or never be able to speak again?
Oh,
like every single thing that crosses your mind, you have to say out loud. Or would you rather never be able to speak again and be a mute?
I would say probably just every single thing that comes to mind, I would say.
Oh,
probably.
you could be like Coach Brew.
Yeah, there you go.
And look at, he's famous and successful.
Ruin training. You'll be a verified nobody someday too.
Blue check
So
mark.
we've been doing these pop culture references and movie quotes and things, and I feel like some of them are dated references that you weren't really prepared for, in part due to your youth. So I'm going to ask you something, and I'm wondering if you've ever seen any of, or even just a trailer or preview for, the Netflix series Tiger King.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Have you seen the whole thing, or just the previews?
I actually have not watched the series, but I've seen the trailers and previews and stuff.
All right.
Do you think Carol Baskin killed her husband?
Yes.
I think so. From at least from what I've seen and from what I've heard, like on the internet, she sounds kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So,
I think she killed Jeffrey Epstein too.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
that's just me.
Yeah. So I want to ask you this, Parker. I think this will give everyone listening, and we have tens of listeners at this point, a glimpse into your personality. Okay. If you could domesticate any wild animal on the planet, what would it be? And how, you could have it as a pet. That's a big word for domesticate.
Okay. If I could domesticate any animal, I would choose like a panda. And here's the reasoning behind this. Is that every YouTube video you see of pandas are the funniest things ever. They just like fall out of trees and stuff.
And roll around and eat.
Yes. It's awesome.
I think I'd like to have a panda.
I think a panda would be just awesome. It's awesome to have.
I think that's a great answer. Coach Brew, I approve this answer. I would have a panda too.
It's good. Yeah.
My mind was thinking grizzly bear, but then as soon as you said panda, I was there. I was 100%. I was definitely on the bear vibe. I was definitely on the bear vibe.
If I were to have a pet panda, I would name him Express. And you have a panda? Yeah, his name's Express. Panda Express. Yeah.
I was going for Kung Fu, so we're just different there. So.
Yep. Wow. All right, Parker. Let me ask you one more question.
All right.
Okay? If your best friend came to you with a corpse, it's a big word for a dead body, would you help them dispose of it, or would you turn them in?
Oh,
best friend.
Okay. Well, I need a little bit more information. Is it if it's like, can we get away with it?
Well, it depends. How would you dispose of it?
Can we get away with it?
How you would dispose of it would, to a large extent, dictate if you would get away with it.
And is the corpse related to our actions? Like, did my friends like straight up just go at it with someone, and the next thing you know, or was he like self-defense sort of thing?
Let's assume they didn't just stumble across a dead body and say, "Hey, I think I ought to bury this," instead of calling the authorities. Let's say like they have something to hide.
Oh gosh. Well, see, if they have something to hide, I feel like as a best friend they would probably tell me. So I feel like if they're not telling me and they're hiding something, then I would probably need to call the authorities, because he could be like a straight up murder and I would not know.
You could be next. Is that what you're thinking? You could be next.
Yeah. If he's not telling me that type of stuff, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Not much of a friend, huh?
Well, I feel like
we can't share anything with him now, John. I don't feel like
I
feel like I'm real limited in what we can tell our
we had some loyalty here. I've learned the loyalty only goes so far. If I show up with a dead body, he's like, "Nah, I'm sorry, I'm not partaking."
If my friend told me, like, if we met up and he's like, "Hey, I got this dead body or whatever," and I need to dispose of it. And he explains to me the whole circumstance and tells me what he's like hiding. Then I think I would go with him, you know? I mean, we'd probably go to jail and it would really suck, but if he tells me the truth, then I'm going to be more likely to help him than to call the authority.
Okay.
I feel like that's probably the best answer I could get out.
What a fence sitter our intern is, John.
That's right now he is. Yeah. He'll lean one way.
Amphibian. He's an amphibian, water or land. Take your pick. You got to choose one. Come on now, man.
Yeah.
You have any questions for him?
No, I think that Parker, we've learned a lot about Parker today. It's been a good episode to learn about Parker. We learned he won't bury my body when I bring it to him. So things have changed a little bit in my mind.
So Parker, tell everyone sort of about your job and how the listener can help you, because this is all about you.
All right.
And how can the listeners, our P1s especially, make you look really good in our eyes?
Well, the listeners can comment down below, subscribe, and follow all of our social networks, which will be linked in the description with all of the videos, all the posts, everything, all the accounts. And on top of, I want the listeners to comment and talk to us, ask us questions. Anything you send in, we will respond to. I will respond to, and
blow up his inbox, people.
Yeah, if there's a topic that the listeners want us to go over, send it in. Let us know if there's any sort of business inquiries or any sort of more serious matters. Then email us at thexfactorpodcast@gmail.com.
That includes sponsorship inquiries if you want us to. You
So
want to be a sponsor on the show?
Yeah, we're looking especially for bourbon companies, especially pre-workout companies, coffee companies.
Yeah, I mean, bourbon companies, we'd be willing to probably barter for product.
Yeah, sure. We'll push your product just for free.
Yeah, and beyond that, like, Jon Rennie has a protein powder habit to support.
I do.
Like, I don't know how many. What are the quantities? Like, how many dime bags of protein you go through in a day? But like, he has nutritional needs that need to be met for him to keep making gains at the squat rack, the bench, and the deadlift platform.
Those are the big three. Thank you for remembering the big three.
Yep.
Squat, deadlift. So yeah, sponsorship as well.
And I think most importantly, for the viewers, just know that we want you to be interactive, and that would help me a ton if you're interactive, telling us things you want to see, just telling us anything and everything, commenting down below, subscribing, following, all of that will help.
Boom. Good stuff.
Parker?
Yep.
Any words of wisdom? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts?
Taking a picture?
I would say no matter what you're doing, you can always do it better.
Mm.
So you're saying I'm not very good at this.
No.
Okay. I get it.
I
think that was a Neil Peart comment.
Yeah, so I think
he's
I would
dead,
end
John.
it with,
he's dead.
I know, get over it.
I think it would be, no matter where you're at right now, you can always get better. That's a better way to sum it up.
Gotcha. Awesome. So you heard it here first from the DFE, the director of freaking everything, wherever you go.
Young Parker.
There you are.
Yep.
And to quote the great Jon Rennie, don't eat anything you can't lift. So with that in mind, if you haven't subscribed, rated, reviewed, shared, please do so. And the email address where you can email Parker with questions for us or topics, or maybe it's just like, hey, here's a list of some brands and some people. Do they have the X Factor or not? Break it down for us. Send it on over to them, the X Factor podcast at gmail.com. And I rule with an iron fist, and Jon Rennie is the disciplinarian. So if Parker doesn't respond inside of one business day, you let me know, and Jon will dish out the discipline, and we'll fine Parker, and there will be additional sanctions against him as the intern. So be sure and report back your results and his response, and we'll see you in the next episode of the X Factor podcast, which has been brought to you by today, our friends at Chin Up, Chest Out. That is our motivational apparel brand, brought to you by Yours Brewly. We are about to launch our winter collection just in time for holiday shopping. You can head on over to chinupchestout.com and take a look at everything we have to offer, from hats, laptop covers, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and an assortment of other things like coffee mugs,
hoodies,
and what?
Hoodies.
And hoodies. We have the best hoodies.
The best.
They're huge.
Huge.
Yep. So head on over there and do that. And while you're at it, give us a shout out on social media. Jon's a very sensitive guy.
Very.
I wouldn't say he has a fragile ego, but he likes and he needs some validation and attention. And I think that if you would share the fact that you thoroughly enjoy the podcast, mainly like his side of it and his contribution, that will go a long way towards his self-worth, value, self-esteem. Is that accurate, Jon?
Perfect. That's exactly it. I'm very fragile.
He's like a petite, delicate flower. And on that note, Parker, it's your episode. Take us out of here.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow us, interact with us. I will be responding to everything that you all send in. Look up chinupchestout.com. Also look into peakdemand.com for all your, I guess, manufacturing.
All your stuff for electric utilities.
Yeah.
Ask for max power when you call. Tell them Coach Bruce sent you.
Absolutely. But thank you all.
Catch you next episode.
Take care.